So when I first started collecting records, it became readily apparent to me that I had to find some way of cleaning my used records. So I did what everyone does. I hit up Google, looked things up, read some Amazon reviews, watched a couple of YouTube videos, and it always comes back to the same thing. Spin clean. Everyone recommends spin clean. Why? Don't know. Everyone says it does a great job. I started looking into it, and then I decided, once I read the description, it just didn't make sense to me. Why is it okay for you to get your labels wet? I know everyone claims that they haven't had any problems with it, but that just didn't sit right with me. It didn't seem like that should be an okay thing to do for my valuable records. The other thing I didn't like was their drying system. They don't have one. So basically you're to take a lint-free microfiber cloth and wipe it dry. Now to me, you're just moving dirt around and potentially transferring it from one record to another. And the other thing, the whole purpose of wet washing a vinyl record is to get rid of static electricity. Well, what happens when you wipe a cloth over vinyl? You build up more static electricity. Kind of defeats the purpose of the whole thing. So I dug a little bit deeper, and I came up with this. The Vinyl Styl Deep Groove Record Washing System. Not to be confused with their brush system. This is a full-on, complete system, very similar to Spin Clean, but in my opinion, a lot better. But let me demonstrate it for you, and you can decide for yourself. I want to preface this video by saying this is not an unboxing. This is my personal unit that I've had now for almost 2 years. I've cycled about 1,000 records through this thing. So it's well used, well worn, and I've really gotten familiar with the intricacies of this system. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. As you notice, everything is all packed into itself. It's all very neat and tidy. It fits very nicely on your shelf as a point of reference. This is a 12-inch record, and as you'll see, this actually sits a lot shorter than the 12-inch, so it fits into your existing shelving very nicely. Shout out to anybody from Western Australia here. But when we open it up, the top cover really doesn't do anything other than to keep all the dust out. There is some storage here if you want to keep your cleaning solution or some rags or something. I personally don't use it, but at least it's there and available if you want it. But this is the big thing for me right here. This is the label protector. As I had said before, the Spin Clean doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because I don't want to risk ruining my labels by getting them wet. It just doesn't make sense to me. So this takes care of that. So you have the clamp and you have the two sides. It's a nice rubber O-ring on here to keep all the water out. And it's pretty straightforward. So you just take your record, put it through the spindle, put the top seal on, clamp it down, and you're good to go. From there, you just drop it in. It rests on these spindles right here in these grooves, and it's a manual action to turn the record. Same thing as the Spin Clean. Really no different from that. Now, one of the things I've heard, I've seen it in the vinyl subreddit many times, people trying to discourage others from potentially buying this, is that they say they didn't buy it because they looked at it and thought that these spindles were pretty weak and they were concerned that they were going to break. I can tell you that this is pretty sturdy construction. These are not going to break anytime soon. As I said, I've cycled over 1,000 records through here, and you're really not putting that much pressure on it when you're spinning the records. These are not going to break anytime soon, so don't let that potentially discourage you from buying these. One of the main differences though, and this may be a negative, I'm not really sure. For anyone that owns a Spin Clean, please comment down below and let me know. I've never owned one to compare. But inside, the cleaning method itself is very different. Now the vinyl Styl uses a brush system as opposed to the spin clean that has its pads. So what you have here is a pair of brushes, and these are essentially like paint brushes. So these bristles, they're pretty densely packed, so you have enough bristles on there to get into all of the grooves. And it just simply rests in between these and runs through, and this puts pressure inside, gets deep into those grooves, hence the name Deep Groove Washer. The brushes themselves hold up pretty well. This is, I think, my 4th set of brushes. I'm getting about 300 records or so per set, and you can order replacements on Amazon for like $10. So it's not really that much of an investment. And these just slide in and out very easily. Really no hassle, no muss, no fuss. But I'm saving the best for last. One of the things that I always see the spin clean people say, when they finally get around to figuring out that wiping their records dry is not the way to do it, they'll go out and they'll tell everyone, hey, I was just at Office Depot and I found this file rack that was super cheap and works really great for records. Or I was at IKEA and they have this bamboo dishwasher rack. Works really good for your records. But then you got to put it someplace. And you got this thing kicking around somewhere. I'm happy to say the vinyl Styl has already thought of that. And underneath here, tucked away, is your very own drying rack. This is brilliant. Now the rack itself holds, according to the directions, it says it'll hold 16 records in here. In reality, I don't find that to be true. I usually get 8 records in here, no problem, which is a perfect number, because once you've washed 8 records, it's time to change the water out anyways. So while your records are drying, you can empty this out, put a fresh batch of water and cleaning solution in. By the time you get back, these are dry, pack them up, start all over again. And then when everything's all said and done, it just packs back into itself. Easy peasy. I also like the fact they have a very soft rubber tip on each one of these plastic pieces to protect your records so you're not scratching it up against the plastic. I've never scratched a record on this system. It works very well. There's one other piece of brilliant engineering that they've done, which I really like. So let me get the label protector back here. So it does 10 inches and 12-inch records very well because they're standard size labels, standard size holes. But what do you do when you have a 45 with one of these US big holes in it? Well, they've thought of that. And basically inside of here, there's a little piece of plastic. You pop it out, you turn it around, you pop it back in, you take your 45, you put that on there, and now you have a 45 adapter. Simply clamp the top back down, and you're good to go. With the same action that you do with a 10 or a 12-inch record. Holds very stable, it's not going anywhere. So again, this system is very well thought out, it's very well designed, and it takes care of all the problems and the shortcomings that you find in the spin clean. So now that I've shown you all of the good parts of this system, I do have to make a point to show you one of the bad parts of this system. If you do go ahead and get one of these, it does come with a bottle of its own cleaning solution. Do not use this. I cannot stress this enough. Do not use the bottle of cleaning fluid that this comes with. It even has a little funnel and some filters. You're supposed to be able to recycle this and use it multiple times. Don't be tempted by saving yourself a couple of bucks. This has some special formulation on it that basically what it does is it coats the surface of the record and it gets into the grooves. It's supposed to be some sort of a rejuvenator and a lubricant so that your stylus flows across your record better. But what I can tell you that this does is it just creates a layer of gunk on your records that will then be picked up by your stylus, and you'll be cleaning your stylus off every 2 or 3 songs. It's terrible. Don't use it. I used it on about 50 records when I first got this, and I've now spent the last 2 years trying to find the right chemical formulation to get that crap off of it, because it's horrible. Don't use this. So what do you use? Well, you can always DIY it, or go to the competition. I just picked up a big bottle of Spin Clean. Only takes a capful per bin. Lasts forever. Super cheap. So there you have it, a better alternative to the Spin Clean, the vinyl style deep groove washer system. If you have a Spin Clean or one of the knockoffs or some other system entirely that I'm not aware of, please comment below and let me know what you think. And until then, I'll see you soon.